dollar values. So for the value added, there are 19 projects. The amount is $168,043. Are there any other questions regarding any of these 19 projects or the sum that was recommended to award the grants? If there are none, I would ask a motion to move these projects.
So moved.
Christine?
Second.
And John. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so those 19 are awarded as recommended. The next one is the ag production. Is that what it's called here? Yep. Ag production. 23 projects. A little bit bigger adjustment down also. $368,159 in total. Over 23 worthy projects as scrutinized by our team. A motion to accept these projects in this award amount.
So moved.
That'd
Second.
be John, that'd be Christine for second. Any other discussion? Barring any, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The grant amount carries $368,159. That's it, unless there's any other new business. Motion to adjourn this meeting. Rob first, Kent second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay. So we're gonna go, thank you, everyone. We're gonna go back into our suspended IDA hearing, which we opened just for the purpose of hearing the audit.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I promise we
Thanks,
started
Jared.
the privilege of the floor, and we shall. Is there any? We'll then move to the minutes, page 3. Minutes were presented, and if they've been reviewed, a motion to accept them as presented would be appreciated.
So moved.
That'd be Ed.
Second.
Lisa is the second. Any comments or discussion? Aren't any? All in favor to accept the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are accepted. We've already done our audit report. So that moves us to page 67. That's a big jump. We have our annual meeting resolution. Let me just get to that so I can read the 2.5 paragraphs of well-prepared language. Okay, page 67 of our board packet, annual meeting resolution 03.07.2024.01. Annual meeting resolutions of the Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency, the agency including the acceptance of the annual audit, re-adopting certain policy standards and procedures relating to the Public Authorities Accountability Act of 2005 as amended by Chapter 506 of the laws of 2009 of the state of New York, election of board of officers, appointing board committee positions, appointment of agency staff and related matters, and also the Paris report are part at the end of the audit, and they're part of this whole process. Do I have a motion to accept the annual meeting resolution as read?
So moved.
Lisa is the first.
Second.
Bill is the second. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? This is a roll call vote, sorry.
Dave,
Dave Commerce? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank
John,
you.
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
all is absent, Bill,
Yes.
Lisa.
Yes.
That's a majority, so the resolution carries. Thank you. That moves us to the treasurer's report on page 145. Paul asked me to present this in his absence. So looking at, year to date is negative, 117,000 and some change. loss, net income over expenses. We did have the current month was slightly less than the previous month. Clearly, the pilot fees are the big driver for the IDA. They're unrecognized and none in the very near future, but they're the big drivers for the income side. Having said that, our expenses are well in control and slightly under budget, so that's positive. The balance sheet, I think we heard from our audit report, we have had some decreases in our cash position, but they've been driven into various loans and programs and things of that nature. So that's the purpose of, this isn't our savings account. This money is to be deployed to help companies. So I think it's important to recognize that.
And Lyle, the 392,000 went into our onto our balance sheet.
I can't hear you.
The DASNY reimbursement for the 392,000. That goes
our
in the
cash
balance sheet.
increase,
Yes.
320, whatever.
Okay, moving to page 151 are the various loan programs we have. There really hasn't been any significant change. One is, you mentioned, I think last month we mentioned it was going to go to default, or is this the month that we determined it's going to default?
I think we've determined it's going to default.
I couldn't remember if we determined that last month or this month.
Yeah, I had sent a note back in January
Okay.
that we needed to have some action soon. We got a reply about a month later saying, get it back to us. So we said, we need you to be current by March 15th.
Okay, all right, so we've got that, and there are two others. One is usually 1 or 2 months. Is that, there are also timing issues?
Timing, Painful Acres, Joy works with her, and
Okay.
I think she's making payments.
Yeah, oh yeah, and they're keeping contact. It's just been very slow.
That's half of it, communication and acceptance.
You know,
Go ahead.
while we're talking loans, we still have it, it's also in the audit, we still have that note from Fred Rogers, it's due about $17,519. He passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We let it rest, thinking that maybe we hear back from the state. I don't know, if we want to try to move to write that off at this point, you think?
There is no estate. He died in a nursing home. He made payment for years on the debt. And, it really needs to be written.
Right, and it cumulates at 9% interest, but yeah, he's been that for 3 years now.
Okay,
It might be time to write that off.
we should, when we get around to doing the bad debt calculation, well, not that that's bad debt, but if we do need to write it off.
Well, I think we need to write it off.
Okay, if you want to get the proper resolution for next month, we can put that on next month's board agenda to do a proper resolution.
Yes.
The other loans are all in good standing and nothing significant stands out on the checks in or checks out. So with that, I make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
Bill, okay, any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That report carries. Paul's not here, so I don't know if anyone has anything to offer for the Alternative Energy Ad Hoc Committee. I don't think it was meetings.
I did talk to Paul briefly yesterday. He wanted me to pass along that there was Boralex applied to the state to amend their site. There was two, and I guess the states wanted them to combine to one. And Paul wanted me to pass along that was approved, the 140 megawatt amendment or whatever it's called in the state. But he wanted me to pass that on. That's all he had.
So that's come out of the state siting committee.
Yes. Okay, all right, that's enough.
That's all I know.
One thing that's related, I'm on a committee in the town of Henderson. We're looking at our solar laws. It's under a moratorium right now and learning a lot from this agency. One of the things that we're focusing on, and it's happened in one other municipality in the state, we're looking at putting in a solar overlay district to actually select and pull out the top 3 soils. We actually have farmers industry, and residents. So we're pulling out the top 3 soil types. Solar is only allowed in Area 40, which are our farming districts. We're actually creating a topo map and a soils map. And we're pulling out all the areas we say, don't build here, please build there. And I think it's a lot of what Lewis County has done, what we've learned from this agency. And I know Jay's supposed to talk in front of our committee soon. So just letting you know, it's been helpful to learn from other people, different approaches. And we're taking it as, I'm calling it like staging our community. We're treating it like a real estate transaction. We want to heavily promote certain areas. Please build here, they're ready. And so we're looking at it in reverse versus being surprised and having somebody come in and building maybe where it's not publicly accepted or super pleasing to a lot of people. So just letting you know that's going on, and maybe this will take root and be improved elsewhere in the state and the county.
Are you gonna take into account transmission capability?
We talked about that and we said what exists today won't exist 10 years from now, which is true. And the capabilities of, like one of our committee members is a large farm operator. He talked about mobile battery transmission, which exists in Florida. They literally bring tractor trailers of batteries to places and then move them. Not that that's the safest thing to do, but we talked about transmission, we talked about right of way. So right now we're taking away the top 3 soils because we determined soil category 3, if you throw tiling in, it's adequate farm. So we're taking 1, 2, 3 classes away, and then we're going to look at topo just to, obviously, we're not going to do this type of thing if it's facing in the wrong direction. And we're sorting out also one of the primary character areas in our community is a view shed with regards to Lake Ontario and protecting certain things. So we're taking away very obvious things and seeing what's left over. So we'll know more. Our next meeting is March 14th. And I know Jay has been asked to speak about to the soil stuff. So we're trying to work with the county's helping us through county planning, and we're obviously going to take access to the county ag coordinator. And so we're going to try to do it right. We may be an utter failure, but
Well, it's the kind of a process that brings the community together instead of tearing it apart. You do it the other way, and guess what? It gets torn apart.
well, we're trying to take the surprise factor away. I think if you state your community and say these are the selected areas, that's what zoning is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be select areas where certain things can be built. And it got a little awry because the state is very overreaching in regards to anywhere is okay. And I think when they have that message, it empowers and imbalances the development.
Tears things apart.
Sounds like your model could be beneficial to other
We hope
municipalities
so.
in the long run.
I mean,
Big time.
we just learned, part of it is what Lewis County did with regards to the disincentivization of the pilot by taking the top soil districts away. I mean, we're not, planning has nothing to do about pilots and things of that nature, but we are looking at what development is allowed in certain districts, and we already have what's called a corridor overlay to preserve certain scenery. And we talked about why not just develop a solar overlay. So we'll see where this goes. Again, one of the people on our board is a GIS operator for the county. So he's very, very adept at actually creating these maps for us.
But the end game will be,
City, not the county.
and the end game will be, the teeth in that will be at the end of the day, you will adopt new zoning laws that
Yes.
everybody
Yeah,
supports.
so part of it of also the zoning, probably most communities, the zoning didn't contemplate the size of the small little 1-panel, 2-panel thing. And it also didn't contemplate maybe larger transmission or battery storage. So those are things we still have to grapple with. I will tell you the other thing that we're highly, highly, highly prioritizing is on-site generation on farms. Farming in our community in Henderson is also it's very rich soils and very prevalent. So we're highly prioritizing on-site generation with obviously a revenue stream of selling off-site when you don't need to, but we're trying to take into regard of not so much developers coming in, but to help the existing community.
Sure. Yep. And you don't need infrastructure. I mean, that's all.
We'll see. I
That's
mean,
local.
the power transmission lines in the town of Henderson are, they're about the size of this cord. They could definitely deserve to be upgraded in some outreaching areas. The Route 3 corridor and the 178 corridor are good, but there's a lot of very bushwhacking areas.
Circuit breaker, you gotta have 3-phase. Without 3-phase, you ain't going nowhere.
Okay, so just, sorry for that digression, but I thought it was related, and if that resonates with somebody else's community, you get in touch with me, and you can kind of keep you abreast of what's going on. Dave Converse, do you want to try to lead the loan review discussion?
Rabbi, audio is so poor, it's hard to hear and everything. Maybe you or John could,
Okay.
lead that. Thank you.
We'll do that. I'll just quickly summarize it because we have a resolution anyway. So the loan review committee met on February 28th. We had one order of action, Sales Bus Garage LLC from the city loan fund. It was ultimately recommended to move this to the full board. It's for $250,000 to renovate and expand purchase equipment. Mr. Hale came in and went through it. Really identified what the uses of the funds would be for and how it would improve the existing infrastructure, which in his opinion hadn't been upgraded in many years, I think was his maybe a way of saying it. So it's going to actually make that property much more viable going forward, and the business much more viable. And the committee recommended this to the full board. And I think this might have been corrected in the application. There was a question about the number of existing jobs, and part of it was their whole enterprise. And I think we identified most of them were within the city.
So we confirmed they're retaining the 20 jobs that exist in the
Correct.
city, and they're creating another 10 within the city.
Yes, so there were, because the application listed 24.
Right.
And so it's 20 in the city with an additional 10 in the city over 3 years as part of the application. And that was, that's in the updated resolution. John, Christine, Dave can't hear us very well, but anything to add that we didn't cover?
No, that's a good summary.
It's
Okay.
summarized quite well in the minutes that
Yeah,
distributed, so.
okay.
One thing I like seeing about this kind of a program, it's got the Watertown Trust involved, the city's on board, county's doing their contribution.
Yep.
It's private banking is putting up substantial money. It's the perfect mix. It's a great partnership. That's the kind of, I love to see this.
Okay, so that moves us to page 157 of our board packet is resolution number 03.07-2024.02, resolution for authorizing the city loan fund to Hales Bus Garage LLC. Whereas Hales Bus Garage LLC has requested this agency a loan in the amount of $250,000 to be used to renovate, expand, and purchase equipment at 1067 Marble Street, Watertown, New York. Staff recommended a $250,000 city loan at 6% interest for the first 12 months, 15-year amortization, 10-year call. And then we'll review the interest rate after 5 years. Co-participation loan with Watertown Local Development Corporation. WLDC will be the lead agency. And we've already emphasized there are 20 current employees within the city with a plan to add 10 more over the next 3 years. We went through the collateral and other items during the meeting, and they're all very satisfactory to staff. And with that, we have the resolution to approve this. And there's one contingency, contingent upon approval of the LDC and Watertown Savings Bank loans.
And we have approval of both of those.
Thank you. And I think LDC is meeting next week.
No, they're approved.
They're already
They're
approved,
already
okay. I'm out of sync. We have a resolution. Do we have a motion to accept it?
So moved.
That's John.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Dave Converse, we'll give you the second on that. Any other discussion or comments?
Are they taking advantage of sales tax?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, there.
yeah, we already proved that.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was.
that's right, that was-
I had that question too, because I forgot we'd done that for months prior.
Sorry. Yep.
This is a roll call vote or not?
No.
No, okay, all in favor, aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion, resolution carries, excuse me. Okay, as threatened, unfinished business, we have a couple items which probably fall under the purpose of executive session. So, there are three items, to discuss the potential and acquisition, sale, or lease of real property and personal and corporate financial data. I would ask for a motion to go into executive session. There are three totally independent, unrelated items to discuss.
So moved.
Oh, and I should say, staff can remain, public has to leave, of course.
I'm sorry, Rob, can you repeat the purpose?
The purpose is to discuss the potential acquisition, sale, or lease of real property and personal and corporate financial data.
Are they separate?
Yes.
Yeah, they're three unrelated items. They actually all fall under this category, so we're trying to group them.
Okay, thank you.
But there's two reasons for executive session.
Yeah, there's two reasons, but they're three purposes.
Will there be
So
some kind of action afterwards?
Yes.
Yeah. we-
possibly on one of them. The other ones are just discussion, I think.
All right, thank you.
Obviously, no action in the executive session. So we had a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
We'll move on.
Aye.
Recording
We'll move into
stopped.
executive session. So we can do these in any particular order.